Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today, doing the what's next on undefeated WBA regular super middleweight champion David Morrell. Morrell returned earlier this month. I believe it was December 11th on Fox. He took on, it was actually December 18th on Fox. He took on veteran Alantez Fox, dominated him to a fourth round TKO victory as he remains, right there. And I actually put him in the top 10 because he holds on to a piece of the world title. We're going to run him through the top 10 and see what possibly could be next for him. He's a PBC guy, so see what his options are going forward. The WBA has not formally, let's get into that because that reflects on our number one, the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, Canelo Alvarez, if that's an option. And I really don't see it as an option. And the WBA, they could order Morrell to fight Canelo, but I think all the governing bodies are giving Canelo one option, one defense at minimum of the super middleweight title just to see what he does next and see if he returns to, the weight class 168 after his next fight. As everybody knows, Canelo is likely moving up to cruiserweight in his next bout in May to try to win a championship in a fifth weight class. That hasn't been formally announced, but that looks to be what he's going to do, as he would, he's waiting around to see what happens with the Tabiso Mushnu and Ilunga Makabu world title fight that's taking place on January 29th. Now, how that impacts Morrell is he's the WBA regular champ, and again, the WBA is trying to reduce all their titles. So they've been ordering a lot of the super champions to fight the regular champs. Well, Canelo's the super champ, Morrell's the regular champ. It doesn't look likely that two things: that Morrell's going to fight Canelo anytime, let alone next. But it really doesn't look likely that the WBA is going to order Canelo to fight Morrell next. They're probably going to let Canelo just kind of chill and do what he wants in his next fight and then maybe go from there. But yeah, I don't see Morrell and Canelo locking horns. Now, number two is undefeated David Benavidez. I don't see it happening next. The WBC has already came down and ordered Benavidez to fight former middleweight champ David Lemieux next in an interim title fight. And I think that's probably going to happen. I really don't see Benavidez, even though they're both PBC guys, I don't think Morrell is ready for a guy like Benavidez, so I don't think they're going to throw Benavidez at him just yet. But they could, you never know. But I highly doubt it. The only reason I think it would be even remotely possible is because they're both PBC guys, but I really don't see Al Heyman risking Morrell at 6-0 to go against Benavidez, so I'm not seeing it. Number three is Daniel Jacobs. From what I heard, Daniel Jacobs is very close to finalizing a deal with John Ryder and I don't see, that would be like in February, so I don't see Morrell and Jacobs being a possibility. Maybe, but it would have to be for Jacobs' next fight, and I think Morrell's probably going to get another fight in before a guy like Jacobs, so I don't see it. Number four is Billy Joe Saunders, a former WBO champion. Not seeing this one. High-risk fight for Billy Joe coming off of that tough knockout loss to Canelo last year. I think Billy Joe's going to want to ease himself back into things, maybe make one more run, and that'll be it, but we'll see. Number five is Kayla Plant. I don't think Plant wants to risk himself in his first fight back after the knockout loss to Canelo. I don't think he'd want to risk himself against somebody like this, even though these two guys are both with the PBC, so you never know, but I don't see this one taking place. Number six is Gabriel Rosado. Hey, you never know. I don't know if Rosado is tied with Golden Boy or Matchroom, but I know he's been fighting his last few fights on DAZN. But Rosado upset Bektemir Melikuziev. If this got him into world title contention and it's a possible fight to make, I say why not? I think it'd be a good test for Morrell. Rosado, I don't think would say no to it. He's coming off the loss to Jaime Munguia, but remember, he moved back down to 160 for that fight. I'm sure after a strong performance against Daniel Jacobs in a fight that a lot of people thought he won, and an upset knockout victory over Bektemir Melikuziev from June of this year, I don't think Rosado would be opposed to taking on a youngster like Morrell, especially if a secondary world title's at stake. So I do think that is possible. Number 7 is Anthony Durrell. I don't know. I don't think Durrell wants to risk himself against a youngster like this who wouldn't bring a lot of money to the table for him. It's an easy fight to make because they're both PBC guys, but I really don't think Durrell would want to take that risk. Number 8 is Kyron Davis. I wouldn't be shocked if they made this fight, but I honestly think Kyron Davis wants to move back down to 160 pounds and fight there. So I'm going to lean towards the less likely. Number 9 is John Ryder. It's a fight they were trying to get made, and now John Ryder looks to be in line to fight Danny Jacobs next. So I don't think that's possible. And then I got Morrell at number 10. So in the top 10, either because Morrell is not ready and the PBC wouldn't risk him, or because some of the other guys, he's too high of a risk for them because he's not a big name. I don't see a top 10 guy in his future unless Gabriel Rosado would want to fight him, to be honest. But there are other options out there that are with the PBC, and I'm going to name a couple. Caleb Truax, the former IBF world champion. Maybe he would say fuck it and go after it. He's coming off the loss to Caleb Plant back in January, but Caleb Truax, this guy, most of his career, he was a gatekeeper. And he pulled off the big upset in 2017 against James DeGale, lost the title back to him, and, has been trying to get back in the mix and get a title shot. He got it with Plant in January of this year and got soundly beat over 12 rounds. So for Morrell, this would be a good test. If he could go out and knock out Caleb Truax, something that Caleb Plant couldn't do, it would shoot him into the top 10 even harder. So that might be an option. Also, Lionel Thompson is a PBC guy. He upset Jose Ustadegui a couple years back, and wants to get into the mix at 168. Why not make that happen? And then Jose Ustadegui is another guy that could get an opportunity here. So Morrell, there are options. They might not be pure top 10 options, but let's be honest, this division is wide open at 168. So it really, could solidify Morrell as a top 10 guy and move him closer and closer to the WBA ordering a mandatory title fight for him with Canelo, which Canelo probably wouldn't take. So Morrell is very likely, in my opinion, in 2021 or 2022 to be declared the WBA sole champion at 168. And then people will start lining up to fight him even more. So I think he needs to take on one of these veterans or guys that are just out of the top 10, Ustadegui, Thompson, Caleb Truax. Take on one of them and beat them, and then you really can say this guy's ready for the rest of the top 10 at 168. So we'll see what happens, but that's the what's next on the undefeated WBA regular super middleweight champion, David Morrell, following his 4th round TKO victory over Alantez Fox. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.